If then half the F I know it's a while as 1/2 mile at any nightly eighths at his acquittal of lifestyles had a system that a space at the Alieska isn't. As Clinton from his glasses of the Daisy Hudson ash and is close to her as a fan of that happily on top in the 8th at C-class outfits may sound. A bit waves faxes and many of the Chris Feist isn't the only way to get a license to mankind's class outcome of the everyday sounds recently. Began reading Radiant's rattle and hum of health bills and stuff like that isn't money in this little lady see. On a great thing about in time for this piece of ice is that possible while I was content to leave that can lie enough great enough increase the bank's actually consulate office in little pieces between opposing him a mail clerk Val McVeigh salsa between 2 and 4 people. At how that is as easy as quick as that not about lives and lifelike consistency and I think the odds of this is some eyes these additional roll. That it's if you want to make this completely grew from 3,000. The unanimous use commission free I'd go out and does not 100,000 lights for the night they need to either some ground on the 5th month in a bind the dial to death after the death of good pinch of dried are gone. Banana leaves its contents of salt on and on stage of half the summit attacks on the heat voice choir find it quite calmly and it's nice and try to find a unease at the complex hand just 2 of the Canadian side I slept well. A native NT will only is this all together and makes it into a dive at home who owned the house. Theaters they did it come together to form a dialysis of half a consistent safe to fly a call at 18 a.m. on which they scrape I try the head. Of aid is just take the diet is the mantle of paid half plus the house in silicon if nice flat pieces faith on the patio downplay to as many nights and even a nun to stay he's laughing as the edges to death film crew half the size and it'll be a viewer may show that this is normal in a sense of the things that are anything you can get from one place and it's not an across the company for this isn't a fight this disease to go into fun of in a 200 degrees for about 20 minutes into his fly down to school and go to Miami and 5th Senate I have to feel any of the island is to get on with my baby's simple too often sold only need is about half a ton of Chilton loss as a nice. His assault on a stage a pack the many accounts and basil and in the final thing is just a bit of olive oil and how we live on sat on the crackle with the rest of the toppings my piece and now ongoing wins some green. This is a Swiss jobs SCSI is so cynical that fine of saving it belongs to the amount as ago that saws on these and fennel on and off the currency deflator with that small size shot this in half. For a number 80 cents and can use a trustee all that came up to 2 save. Pickle sauce of Sino from medicine to say on top of the pizza and again nice increase the amount Sanofi freshness and crunch some. Business acumen pizza place in the oft citizen exactly how he wants a idiotic as a reading of the encoding on the edges and conceits dry out and some really nice and crispy misses can be a fantastic baseball pizza. Scientist Lisa it opens on no uninstall for women little bit too often sold its use the back of the stains describes the smartest sort but if the nice thing is a bit of mozzarella this is an awfully bowl of buffalo mozzarella about half of its citizenry the big one if these as this year the screens as customer that all of top health facilities and often the data to appease the final of friends and I am back in the oven of fun of the 200 for about 8 minutes left her 5th sonata 2nd grade you can see that all his shot and artists of the around the edges and the mozzarella has no student theses and not no Chris the golden bits and of melted in win over greens and enough into office solicits mouse amazing gift items as gives you a couple of finishing touches bustling this aid until the epitome of this whole reason using packed arenas is gone now because we enough to play the rest and maybe with the final and the greens vegetarian not be as many important enough for rent-free country have a fair and ice cap strain of batteries quite generous hands on and off the fragrance of basil on many happy with this in this side of the known facts and sells amazing on the comments of the sliced and have a good taste. After that, CDs and funnel the Sanofi basil butter thing as a whale rail against a visit by its it doesn't taste, flowery distaste Christy and in. This instance of a typical for these amazing thing is if you like this recipe, these two visit comes off. An access fee and millions of all businesses recipes are among them. More likely you can find the details in the box for life after.